So every year the question comes up, how do I memorize the unit circle? And what I say to students all the time is don't memorize it, generate it. What do I mean by that? Okay, simply is this. Can you count to 4? Watch. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here's the trick. Everything is over 2 and everything is square rooted. Okay? Do you see it? All right, so let's simplify this. Square root of 0 divided by 2 is still 0. The square root of 1 is still 1. It's over 2 though. Square root of 2, yeah, root 2 over 2, that doesn't change. Look at this guy, root 3 over 2, that doesn't change. But the square root of 4 is 2, 2 over 2 is 1. Those 5 numbers is all you need to generate the unit circle. That's it. And as a matter of fact, the cool thing about doing it this way is they're in fact in order. Look, this is 0. This will be 0.5. This is 0.7071. This is 0.8660. And that, of course, is 1. So you can see that it goes from the least to the greatest. No problem at all. Now, how is this going to do things? Well, you know what? Look at this in terms of lengths. 0 is 0. But if you compare 0.5 in a length, 0.5 is about that far, let's say. 0.707 is a little further, and 0.8660 is even a little further. So keep these ideas of lengths in mind when we start generating this unit circle. Okay, so let's start. How do we do it? Easy. Watch this. Create your axis. You know right away that your unit circle, being that it is a unit, will have a radius of 1. So put your radiuses of 1 all the way around. Boom, 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 all the way down to here, like that. Let's just move that up a little bit. Ah, there, perfect, excellent, it's got some room now. Okay, so every one of these is, if you think about it, is 1, 0. That will be, of course, 0, 1. Over here will be -1, 0. And this one over here down here will be, of course, 0, -1. Everybody's happy. Perfect. Now, here comes the fun. What I want to show you this is this. Look at this. I've suddenly used all of the zeros and all of the ones. So now let's deal with the next group. I'm going to do this one in green. Okay, here we go. I'm going to deal with this group here. Perfect. Let's go. You're dealing with 1/2 and root 3 over 2. So those are the two values you're dealing with. Remember, which one's longer? Well, this one was longer. Okay, so let's do it. Here we go. Root 3 over 2 is, let's say, this length. 1/2 is that length. Perfect. Guess what? As soon as you do that, you have a 30-degree angle right there. So you know what's really cool? This has a coordinate point, right, of root 3 over 2, 1/2. Now, check this out. If you draw a box just like this, perfect. Every one of these coordinate points now is root 3 over 2, 1/2. Root 3 over 2, 1/2. Root 3 over 2, 1/2. Perfect. Every one of these coordinate points is exactly that same value. Why? Because that is 30 degrees, that is 30 degrees, and that is 30 degrees. Very, very cool. But you're probably saying to yourself, well, that's not really negative root 3 or root 3 over 2, 1/2, is it? Don't you use negatives? Well, of course you do. When you go in this direction here and up, that's negative, positive. When you go in this direction again, but now down, that's negative, negative. And if you go in this direction and down, that's positive, negative, positive, negative. And there's your values. Now, the cool thing about this triangle is that it is, in fact, if you look at it, a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So that's 60 degrees here, that's 90 degrees here. Now, here we go. What do? You take this exact rectangle, and now you rotate it. And you make it go this way. So guess what happens? Yep, and I'll do this one in blue. This guy here, thunk, up to there, is in fact 60 degrees, and this guy is 30 degrees, and it's still a 30, 60, 90 triangle. But guess what happens? If you flip the triangle, you flip the values. Why? This is 1/2, this is root 3 over 2 up. So in fact, your coordinates are now 1/2 root 3 over 2. Check it out. Boom. That's going to be 1/2 root 3 over 2. That one's going to be 1/2 root 3 over 2. And that one's going to be 1/2 root 3 over 2. And of course then, put your negatives in after you've labeled it. Okay, negative, positive. Okay, negative, positive. Negative, negative. No, no. And positive, negative. Positive, negative. Perfect. You're labeled. Now, you're about 3/4 finished already. Since, let's go back to our original guy, right up here. Since you've already exhausted the combinations with these two guys, right? They're gone. Perfect. Let's go back over here now, and let's actually use the pi stuff now to describe it. Okay, here we go. Remember, you start at 0 here. Going all the way out to here is now pi, and going completely around is 2 pi. Think of how you are breaking this up now. You're breaking this up into 1, 2, include the axis, 3, 4, 5, 6s. You are in fact breaking pi up into 6s. So this is pi over 6. This will be 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, 4 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, and finally 6 pi over 6, which you know is just pi, so we'll just get rid of that one. 7 pi over 6, 8 pi over 6. This guy would be 9 pi over 6 because, of course, you have to include the axis that you're crossing. This one will be 10 pi over 6. This one here will be 11 pi over 6. And lo and behold, 12 pi over 6, which is just 2 pi. Now you can go back and reduce this. This, of course, if you think about it, 2 pi over 6 now is actually pi over 3. 3 pi over 6 is just pi over 2. 4 pi over 6, well, that reduces down to 2 pi over 3. 5 pi over 6 can't reduce. 7 pi over 6 can't reduce. 8 pi over 6 is now 4 pi over 3. 9 pi over 6 is going to be 3 pi over 2. 10 pi over 6 is 5 pi over 3. There's 11 pi over 6, and of course 12 pi over 6, which is 2 pi. Now, go back to the numbers that we were dealing with. We were dealing with this guy right here. Guess what? That's the only number left, right there. And it just happens to be in the middle of all these original numbers that you had. Okay, so that means on our unit circle, yep, right there in the middle. Boom, boom, look at that. And you're drawing a perfect box. And that's the only number that's left. So guess what? Each one of these is root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. And of course, this will be negative positive, that'll be negative negative, and that'll be positive negative, just like every other thing in here. Now, the cool thing about this then is you're now dealing with, again, the axis here, this axis, this axis, this axis, and all the way around. So just looking at the red ones now, right, which is back to here and all the way over to here, just looking at the red ones, all you have to do now is count to pi, see how many of these guys you have. So, okay, 1, 2, because you're crossing an axis, 3, 4. So you're breaking pi up into fourths. So guess what? This, now, let me get rid of this here, okay, is, guess what? Pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, which you already have labeled here. There's 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4, which is just pi. This will be 5 pi over 4. This will be 6 pi over 4, but we already have it labeled. There's 7 pi over 4, and of course 8 pi over 4, which is our 2 pi. So what I want to do in the next podcast is I want to be able to generate this really fast. So I'll show you what we have as a review sheet on the virtual classroom so that you can practice this at home, okay?